Welcome to Mark's British Airways Fleet Update, looking at short and long-haul fleets.
Here we are well into the month of March. It's time for another British Airways fleet update as we head towards the summer schedule changes at the end of the month. All about the British Airways fleet coming up and a little bit of extra news about British Airways maintenance infrastructure. If you're interested in that, stick around. We'll kick off, of course, with the British Airways City Flyer fleet, the Embraer 190s. 3 of those have been to Exeter recently. 2 of them remain there, Lima Charlie Yankee November, Lima Charlie Yankee Zulu at Exeter for maintenance since the 19th and the 20th of February, respectively. Lima Charlie Yankee uniform returned from Exeter on the 4th of March, flying as the City Flyer 9770 back to London City. The Euroflyer subsidiary and their Gatwick-based Airbus fleet, well, Golf Alpha Tango November remains at London Heathrow, having flown in, as we've told you many times, flight level 80 on the 18th of January. Damage to the skin on its nose and that aircraft still under repair. Golf Alpha Tango Romeo remains under maintenance at BA in Glasgow, been there since the 20th of February. And Mike Echo Delta Kilo, one of the very old A320s in the British Airways fleet, remains on lease to BA Mainline, flying for the moment out of London Heathrow. And Mike India Delta Oscar flew from Birmingham back to London Gatwick after maintenance on the 4th of March. Euroflyer 9751 back in traffic the next day on the 5th of March. The crew that flew that back had flown up earlier from London Gatwick with Airbus A380 Golf Alpha Tango Juliet, which headed the other way on the Euroflyer 9750 for maintenance. Well, let's move on and have a look at that significant piece of news. British Airways announced a few weeks ago that they've bought the Gatwick maintenance, repair and overhaul business from Boeing, which has quite a new state-of-the-art hangar that comes as part of that. They're setting up a new wholly owned subsidiary in their engineering business called British Airways Engineering Gatwick, BAEG. That will join the existing BA engineering operations in South Wales and Glasgow, and they are going to transfer the employees at Boeing across into the new subsidiary in Q2 of this year. Big significant investment this, of course, for British Airways. Interestingly, they're telling us it forms part of the airline strategy to expand its engineering operation. Many of you comment when you see my videos, why is British Airways flying all these aircraft not only around the UK but around Europe, and not only around Europe but around the world to places like Taipei and Manila? Well, this significant investment, I think, will begin to change that, but not entirely. Taking over this Boeing facility is going to allow them to carry out minor maintenance on the 777 aircraft at the airport. So the 777s at Gatwick will be able to have some of their maintenance done at Gatwick as opposed to none at the moment. But it will also allow them to insource some scheduled heavy maintenance on the Gatwick-based A320 and A321 fleet. It will also enhance the capability within British Airways to carry out unscheduled repair work and provide additional maintenance resilience and remove some of the challenges at other maintenance locations across the BA network. And British Airways pointing out that carrying out more 777 and more A320 and 321 maintenance at Gatwick reduces the need to ferry those aircraft to other operational bases, and that supports BA's wider sustainability goals. So there you go, British Airways buying the Boeing Gatwick MRO facility. Probably a bit less to report on this channel in the future once that goes through, but we'll see how it goes. Sticking with the short-haul Airbus fleet in mainline now, let's have a quick look through. Quite a lot to talk about. In fact, so much that it occupies 2 slides. So Delta Bravo, Charlie Bravo, one of the 319s that's been at Madrid for maintenance, that returned on the Speedbird 9275 from Madrid on the 3rd of March. Delta Bravo Charlie Charlie returned from Birmingham refit as the BA 9270 on the 6th of March, and Delta Bravo Charlie Golf returned from Malta maintenance on the BA 9277 on the 7th of March. Airbus 319 Echo Uniform Papa Romeo remains in Abu Dhabi, been there since the 6th of January. On the Airbus A320s, Echo Uniform Charlie flew up to Glasgow for maintenance as the BA 9271 on the 5th of March, and then Tango November India flew the other way later in the day after maintenance as the BA 9270. Echo Uniform Yankee Juliet returned from its maintenance in Madrid as the BA 9272 on the 5th of March. Echo Uniform Yankee Romeo, one of the Airbus A320s in the fleet, that remained on the ground at Barcelona after arrival on the BA 488 on the 6th of March. Its return working was cancelled. The aircraft eventually returned empty to London Heathrow the following day. Echo Uniform Yankee Delta remains in Madrid for maintenance, been there since the 2nd of February. It was joined by Tango November Juliet on the 27th of February, which flew out on the BA 9270. Echo Uniform Yankee Oscar flew to Dublin for maintenance on the 24th of February as the 9271, and Echo Uniform India flew out to Shannon for a repaint as BA 9273 on the 24th of Feb, coming back on the 3rd of March as the BA 9274. And the crew that brought that back as the 9274 had flown out to Shannon earlier in the day with Echo Uniform Zulu on the BA 9273. And Airbus A321 November Echo Oscar Tango flew out to Madrid for scheduled maintenance on the 19th of February, BA 9275. Well, there's not much to report that I've picked up anyway on the Airbus A350 fleet, 18 aircraft generally behaving themselves. Couple of issues on the Airbus A380. I think the most significant piece of news is that X-Ray Lima Echo Alpha, which has been in Manila for a long time. We talked in the last episode about how that aircraft had ferried to Singapore. It had come back in service as the BA12. It then picked up work on the BA207 from London Heathrow across to Miami. But sadly, the aircraft was deemed unserviceable, taken out of traffic on arrival at Miami. BA206 was cancelled on the return leg, and the aircraft actually was repaired in Miami, we believe, and came back empty the next day as the BA 9178. The BA 268 with an Airbus A380 diverted to Toronto with a medical emergency, and not quite clear why Toronto, because that was a very long way from the polar routing the aircraft was taking. The aircraft remained on the ground at Toronto for a while, returned the following day, Toronto to London in service with the passengers on board. As a consequence of that, the BA 193 from London to Dallas Fort Worth was cancelled on the 4th of March. A couple of updates for you, or more than a couple, but a few updates on the BA 777 fleet. Victor India Papa remains at Taipei for maintenance, been there since the 8th of February. And Yankee Mike November remains in Cardiff for maintenance since the 23rd of Feb. Also in Cardiff is Victor India Yankee. That's there for its club suites fitment, hoping to see that completed fairly shortly. Sister ship Victor India Whiskey will replace it in due course, hopefully later this month. Victor India Echo flew the BA 9170 empty from Heathrow across to Tyrrell on the 27th of February for repaint, and that remains there. Yankee Mike uniforms at London Heathrow, having Yankee Mike uniform returned to traffic on the 4th of March, having been out of traffic on the ground at London Heathrow since the 18th of February. Yankee Mike India from Heathrow remains temporarily operating at a London Gatwick with a set of workings on the 777 roster there since the 7th of February. Yankee Mike Kilo, also from the Heathrow fleet, that flew across to Gatwick on the 3rd of March, has taken up rostered rotations on the Gatwick long haul operation, but it ended up on the Speedbird 2203 Gatwick to Cancun on the 7th of March, with the return flight, the 2202, cancelled. Not quite clear why. Something for the next update as to how that aircraft gets resolved and back into traffic. Yankee Mike Charlie from Gatwick flew BA 9175 across to London Heathrow on the 5th of March, due to return the next day, but that movement didn't occur again. One for the next update, and Yankee Mike Foxtrot has been out of use at London Gatwick since the 3rd of March, so a bit of mutual aid coming to the Gatwick fleet from Heathrow-based aircraft there. So moving across, let's have a look at the British Airways 787 Dreamliner fleet. 7879 Zulu Bravo Kilo Hotel remains at Abu Dhabi, being there for maintenance since the 21st of February. Zulu Bravo Juliet Alpha remains in Cardiff. No one has been able to fill me in on whether that's planned technical work or whether it's some rectification work after the club suites fitment, but a bit unfortunate because British Airways don't have many 7878s with club suites, and that's one of them, and it's been out of service now for 5 weeks or so at Cardiff. Zulu Bravo Juliet Delta is having its club suites fitted at Cardiff right now, and we remain to see whether that aircraft is in suitable condition to go back to traffic or whether it will be stored on completion. And then a bit of short haul action continues for the British Airways Dreamliner fleet. Zulu Bravo Juliet did a Athens rotation on the 1st of March, 632 back 633, and Zulu Bravo Kilo Bravo operated the 640 641 back for Athens 2 days later on the 3rd of March. Airbus shortages there. Nothing to do with Airbus shortages, but all about trying to provide a bit more capacity following the Eurostar train service being suspended. On the 7th of March, BA operated an additional BA 302 back on the 301. Heathrow to Charles de Gaulle with 7879 Zulu Bravo Kilo India. So nice to see a bit of capacity in the Dreamliner fleet. You know, British Airways made some planned cancellations to its schedules. Unfortunately, it's not had a significant increase in Dreamliners being taken out of service. So currently there is Zulu Bravo Juliet Alpha, which we just spoke about, in Cardiff, along with Juliet Delta for club suites. Juliet Echo has been out of service since July last year, parked up at Cardiff with no engines. Kilo Hotel on the 7879 fleet in Abu Dhabi, and Kilo Oscar is the longest stopped 7879 parked up at London Heathrow, waiting engines, and Lima Delta on the 78710 fleet, parked since the 23rd of September. So they're the long-term stoppers. Well, that's about it from me. That is your British Airways fleet update. Lots going on, lots of data and information to update you on. Hope you find that useful. I'll catch you again here on Mark's Trains, Planes and Trams very soon for another British Airways fleet update.
Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe and click the notification button so you don't miss any of the great trips Mark has coming your way on this YouTube channel.